in a strange way, it allowed me to do a deep dive, to really study the institution, to really learn what needed to be done. It allowed me to reflect. I think it allowed most of us to reflect, to take a moment to really determine what really is important for us. I mean, we became isolated. Linnell was here when we did our attempt at digital. We had a lot of ways to grow, I'll just say that. We attempted some things we had never done before. That was not our forte. We were not experienced in virtual reality. And I think, dare say, a lot of individuals, a lot of businesses were not. I mean, those, a larger institution may have been in a better position to do that. They had the staff and the capacity. We didn't. We were learning as we grow. And I will tell you, luckily, some of those videos are not around, or hopefully, I hope they don't turn up. But I mean, nothing bad was said, but I mean, trying to, walk and chew gum at the same time was difficult. But there was opportunity. In anything and everything, there's opportunity. I think as humans, the first thing that we experience is we say, oh my God, why me? What do we need to do? And the second thing that we need to do is to think, okay, let me take a moment. Let me pause. Let me say, okay, what opportunity is here? Is there, because people made money during the pandemic.
Yep, lots of money.
Lots of money. And so they saw opportunity where many of us just saw a problem. And it was a problem. And it, I hate to say it, I know a lot of people who are still experiencing the problem. Many of us lost family. We lost some significant family members during that time. And it's painful. I mean, there's a painful process. But the pivot, my friend Amy Hilliard talks about pivoting, and that was the opportunity. I saw it, the first person outside of Linnell that was here afterwards was Zakia, and I didn't even have a job description. I'm like, okay, we just need public engagement. We need to tell our story. We need to get out there. We need to build a website. So one of the first things we did was we built a website. Our old website was a little dated, and it was time. I'll just say it was time.
Yes.
It was good for its season, but it was time. We worked really hard with That's So Creative, a Black firm, to help us build that website and say, here's the message. We want to tell our story. We want to make sure that people know who we are, what's the significance. And we're still working on that website. I think it's good, but a website should not be stagnant. It should be continuously building and growing. And so, of course, some of that takes money, and we're going to continue to do that. But that's what we found. We started having virtual artist talks and conversations. And during that time, because people weren't going out, we had over 100 different points in time. We had over 100 folks tuning in, listening. So they were still hungry and wanting art, even during that dark period.
The new 100, I'm sure, is now turned into thousands. But it has a potential of even growing more. So understanding that your reach has expanded so much, what has that response been like? And then understanding the work that you do is now, gone viral and reaching people everywhere.
So I think of that's good news. I mean, that means we'll be here hopefully another 83 years. Many in this room, may or may not be here. But I would say that we can be here another 83 years. We continue to build. It's that reach that's going to reach the folks who haven't heard about us before. It's going to reach the younger people. It's going to reach the younger people's children. And they're virtual. They're on social media. We're trying to catch up.
Has it led to new collaborations?
Absolutely. We are continuously collaborating with groups, organizations. We've been doing some professional development series with ILA. Of course, you say it now, my brain is going to do a blank. This is a collaboration with Pigment International. We have tried to support them, and Patricia used to, I don't know if anyone knows this, but she used to be on our board of directors. And she and I connected at that time, and she has been really supportive of us, and I've tried to be really supportive of her and other institutions. And I'm of the mindset that we all win by joining together. It's not, this is our stuff over here and that's your stuff, and I don't want to help you because that might take away from me. I don't work and operate and live in that space. For me, if I can help you, then that means you might be able to help some other folks. And that's how this works. If we get out of that mindset, to me, of saying, I'm going to covet my little space and, I don't want anybody else to have what I have. No, we grow. We're looking at new ways to collaborate with Black institutions, figuring out, and not only, but certainly importantly, that we collaborate because we all need to win. We're all serving a purpose. When I think about the wheel of life and I think about, everybody says, well, it's education, it's art, it's this, banking, it's this. I think it's all of it.
Yeah.
And we've got to figure out ways for us to collectively stay together, be together, and not let voices outside of ours confuse us so that we don't understand the importance of us being together and connected.
And I'm sure Dr. Burrows will be very proud of you saying that. She was very vocal. No one was more of an advocate for Black people, especially in the arts, than Dr. Margaret Burrows. It was very important for her to know and for people to understand that we had to support our own institutions. So as you move into this next growth phase, where you're going to expand this very space and add on to this facility, what is your message to all the Black people who believe in art and the power of culture to support you? What is that message?
So for those that don't know yet, we are about to do a major restoration campaign. And this major campaign restoration project is pivotal. There's a lot of things. This building is over 100 years old. Our institution is over 83 years old. And this is a very old building. Anybody who's ever lived in or owned an old house recognize that there are things that need repair. And we don't have air. So in the summertime, it can get a little warm. Ask the team that's here. In the wintertime, we've got radiator heat. It's either really hot or not. And so it's like trying to find a happy medium to get that together. Reclaiming our space in the basement. You mentioned Gordon Parks. He used to have a dark room down there. The space has really been dormant. And it's been dormant because, it goes back to the funding. We've needed the money to maintain certain spaces. And we're going to be able to do that again. And so the restoration for me means that everyone can come back home to the center and experience a center worthy of the community. We're a historic landmark. And so right now we're trying to work with the various agencies to determine what can be done, because we're not changing the building and redesigning everything. We are restoring. We may change the restrooms and some other things that may be in need of a little bit of help and love. But this is a restoration project. This is about restoring our home, our art community, bringing back. I did not have the pleasure of meeting Dr. Margaret Burrows. I understand she was a force.
Yes.
And we're all standing on her shoulders here. She was a force. I also want to say that I'm also standing on the shoulders of every board member, every ED, every team member, every community member that gave $1, a dime, a quarter, and more. I don't want to limit it. That's what we stand on. And that's what this restoration project is. It's giving back to our community. We deserve an institution that is worthy. We have the history, we have the art, we have the culture, we have the ancestors looking down on us on any given day. We always laugh because the building kind of moves and does funny things, and we're like, it's okay, it's all good. It's the ancestors, they're just, saying you're okay. I always say, as long as you're not doing nothing wrong, we should be good. But we deserve. We also, with the restoration project, will finally be able to add an elevator because, back in the 1800s when the building was made, that was not something that we had. And it costs money, to do that type of restoration. I'm super excited about that because that means more individuals will be able to have access. And you talked about diverse communities. It's critically important that we welcome everybody. I don't want, it pains me when someone can't get up those stairs because then they're not feeling as though they're welcome. And we want to welcome everyone. So something as simple, and maybe not simple, as an elevator is critically important for us. We're going to restore our classrooms. Lamar Gales, I don't see him at the moment, but he's our archives and collections manager. We have boxes of archival material from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, Okay, that's getting a long number. We also have over 500 pieces in our collection. And to be able to have more space to share that collection, we've been able to do that in our micro gallery. Lamar has curated several shows where there's some pieces in there now. Before you leave, please take a peek from our collection. We've got art around the building that is owned by the center. They're not for sale. They're owned by the center because it's important that we have a piece of history. So imagine a Charles White. So I went to Expo 5 years ago, and I think they've changed the name or something, the Freeze or something now. But I said, where's the black art? And so I finally found my piece. And I said, that's it. It was a Charles White.
Wow.
It was $500,000.
Wow.
And I thought, well, maybe that's not my piece. Maybe I'll just take a picture. He started here. He was a founder. We have a couple of Charles Whites in our collection. At the time, he was an artist. I mean, he's no longer with us, but at the time he was an artist. That's how our collection grew. The artist, Dr. Burroughs, was very generous with giving her pieces, not only to the Southside Community Arts Center, but also to DuSable Museum, who she also was a part of founding. And so, to me, this restoration is going to be important and will live beyond any of us in this room. And anything that you can think about and contribute, I think that's important. And so that's what it means to me.
Wow, wow, wow. And I understand you have over 500 pieces?
Yes.
Down in the catacombs someplace?
Up in the catacombs, yes. Well, and the restoration will also allow us to create a museum quality space, temperature controlled, the things that museum pieces need. Luckily we've got hardy pieces, hardy art, because, they've withstood the 83 years.
Yes.
But that's what we deserve. To have in this institution for our community is a space, again, that can house those pieces. You know, you can always go down to all the other arts institutions, and I always encourage that you do. But isn't it nice to have a space that you basically is yours? It's like home. How I think about it is I want you to feel like you're at home when you come here. I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel like, okay, we're not trying to, you know, think about let's relegate and see who can be accepted and who can't. No, no, that's not how this works. Everybody here is welcome. And we want you to be able to appreciate that. And so we're building out that component as well so that the archives can be used for research. There are a lot of Black scholars who need that research. A lot of other scholars as well who've also been using that research and helping to build out careers. When I think about when I've talked to our archival and collections manager and said, opportunity to build out a legacy, an archival and collections legacy that maybe at other institutions you might not have the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of a small institution, is that you get to do all things. And then of course sometimes the not so fun of in a small institution is you get to do all things.
Yeah. I would like to briefly open up before we close. If there are any questions from the audience, we will gladly take them now. You can think about it for a moment as I ask you, who's in your collection?
Ooh, okay. You want me to put this on tape, huh? So
Okay, let's put it this way. Who are you watching?
Okay. I have a lot in my collection, and I have a lot that I'm looking for it to be. So I've got mostly emerging artists or artists who've been somewhat established. I have not had the funding to purchase, say, a Charles White. I'd love to one day. Who knows? Are there any lottos that have Charles Whites or something like that? But Dr. Burroughs, we have a print. I actually collected that for my granddaughter. And I am beginning to think about art in that way. So I have some photography. I'll tell you the types of art that I collected. I love figurative work as well. I love sculpture and statues and things like that. I love that. I literally am kind of eclectic in my collection. The newest artists, I don't know. Of course, I'm always thinking of names, and I don't want to use names because then I forget somebody, and they're like, "You're over there, and you put them on tape, and you mentioned them, and you didn't mention us." But to suffice to say that there's so much work, and I just challenge everyone to find something that you like. It may be photography. It may be sculpture. It may be abstract. It may be figurative. It may be jewelry. It could be anything. Find something that you like. And I would even suggest that, it's nice when you can collect masters and folks who have really, the work has accumulated. But for many of us, that's out of reach early on. But find somebody that you love their work and support an artist. Support, collect. Many of them, I dare say almost all of them that I've met will work with you. And by that, I mean, they'll let you get a layaway plan. I say that's how I've gotten most of my work. But I encourage you to find something. And start small. It doesn't have to be, you get a ginormous piece. Get you something small. I started, quite frankly, with magnets. I know that's going to sound funny, but magnets, how people put fruit on the refrigerator.
Yes.
I would collect Black art magnets early on, and I loved it, and that kind of just grew to other things. But I don't want to limit anybody other than just open up. Explore, expand your mind, and think about something.
And the importance of that kind of collecting, beyond just having something that you love that is beautiful in your home that you might want to pass on to your children. Why is it important for us to collect our art? I can give you $1 million reasons why.
I was
A
gonna
million
say.
dollar reason why, okay? There are folks that don't
Yes.
look like us who are
Yeah.
getting those Charles Whites now that are making that money, and they wait until we expire.
Yes, yes, and yes. You know, all of a sudden, Kerry James Marshall sold that
Yes.
piece. We all know about
And wait a
that.
minute, and he had his wedding right here in this
Yes,
facility.
yes. He and his
Okay.
wife Cheryl were married in this room many moons ago. So, what? I want you got a passion point on me that one. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you that the value of art is important, because you have to know your worth. That's what is meaningful to me. So when you talk about why is it important? So my son is here, one of my sons, and I talked to him about collecting, and I didn't do a good job with my mom, and dragged all of them to art fairs. And it took him picking out some pieces and really beginning to reflect on those and say, they really changed my space. And now I picked out, I have 2 grandchildren, and I picked them out each a piece. Why? Because I want them to know, one, how important it is for them to have a reflection of themselves. 2, I want them to understand the value of art. We've given away art. I mean, not me personally, but as a culture, we've given away art. We've let other people collect our art, and they determined the value. And I just think we need to take back that conversation and collect and value our own works. And even if, and let me just say this, even if the piece that you buy never has, the $1 million price tag, you just supported an artist. That $100, that $50, that $2,500, $10,000, whatever the number is, you helped a living artist support and continue to tell the story of our culture through art. So you made a contribution every time you do that and support artists.
And that is a lesson from our financial advisor. Make the investment, but it's so right. I often think about the artists that I have collected, and even in terms of when you go boutique shopping. And growing up, you see their kids running around. You're investing in them, allowing them to get on to college and what have you. So you see in our own community the impact of your investment. You see them grow and flourish, and their families grow and flourish at the same time. If there are no other questions, I have a question for you.
I was going to say, I just have one thing you made me think about with kids. We need to teach our kids that there's multiple ways of supporting your families. Art is one of them. We're taught I like to call it the doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, no harm, no foul for any of those careers. But there's so many more careers that we're not aware of. And the arts has so many more careers. There's archivists. There's, collections managers. There's folks who, preserve art. These are things that are not taught. Typically, I won't say ever, but typically they're not taught. And our kids just need to know that they don't have to fit in a box. That's important for me too. And so when we think about the power of that, imagine if each child that you personally know, and those that are on the way, really understood just how wonderful, powerful, beautiful, important they were, and they are. How would that change for melanin minds? Think about how that would change how we process the world.
Vision that you have showcasing here for Black Art Month.
So this, okay, of course I need to read all of this, but Nemeka is he's an artist. He is a fiber artist. So a lot of the works that you see, he is actually custom woven some of the fabrics. He's also created just a montage of different types of handmade work, some of them given with found objects. This is also part of his dissertation. He's doing something different. This was the culmination of a lot of the work that has been working on for a while, and now he's going to write this up. And we hope to see as he I'm sure will be super successful, him become another PhD in the arts community and practicing artist. I welcome you to walk around. We have more detail than I could give you in this short space about each piece, about the artist. We also have upstairs another exhibit, and those featured both Nemeka and Corey. I think it's Corey Fields. Corey?
Perry.
Corey Perry. Sorry, Corey. I wanted to make sure that, I'm going by the top of my head. That's always, a bad thing. But he's an artist that created an exhibition about grief and pain. And he did that in a very unique way. And, our thoughts and prayers go out to him because he recently, experienced a great loss. And so we, took a moment to, pray with him, think about him in his moment. And we all have those moments. And so I encourage you to go upstairs to learn more about both artists, to learn more about each piece. This was something unique. Again, trying something different, trying something outside of our box. And so if based on what we saw during the opening exhibition, then it was really well received.
Well, congratulations on all of your work and the fine work that you're doing for the Southside Community Arts Center and continuing its legacy. On behalf of Patricia Andrews Keenan, we thank you for engaging us during Black Fine Art Month. In the month that Congresswoman Robin Kelly stood on the congressional floor and encouraged Congress to make Black Fine Art Month a nationally recognized month.
Kudos.
Yes,
to
yes, yes,
Congressman
yes.
Robin Kelly. Thank you.
And in the final question, I would be remiss if I did not ask. On behalf of Dr. Margaret Burroughs, she would ask everyone, anyone who knew her would know she would ask you this. What is, when you look into your crystal ball, what will be your legacy, specifically as it pertains to the Southside Community Arts Center?
Okay. What I hope will be my legacy is that I, in some small way, help to financially bring forward the restoration project to continue to expand the reach of the center through the amazingly talented team that we have here, through our social media, through all of you sharing and spreading the word. I hope that I will be but one more individual who will pass the baton at some point, who was given the baton and, tried and have continued to try to do more. Each one of us has to try to do a little bit more and to give back. I mean, this institution is just important. When I think about that part, it's just really, really important to me as someone who appreciates art, that in some small way that I was able to be a part of continuing the legacy of these 83 years and beyond, and to make some small, contribution to that. And if we're able to, not if, when we complete the restoration project, then I will know that I've played a small part in helping the generations that come and follow us to have a space and a place that they can appreciate and maybe find the same camaraderie, membership, expansion, collaboration, all the things that they'll look for and beyond, that they'll, be a smart part of making that happen.
Well, I'm sure Dr. Burrows and all the other great titans who stood here as the founders of this great institution are giving you a warm round of applause, an appreciative round of applause, as we do. Let's give Monique Brinkman-Hill a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.